Okay, we're continuing to use is over of equals percent over 100. And to set it up, we would say, okay, using the numbers that we've got, let's actually mark off what do we know. Here's our is 732 of what number? I mean, of is going to be the thing that we're missing, and 150% means that's the percent number. So we've got, filling it in, is 732 of what? X equals percent 150 over 100. Those are the numbers we filled in. And so multiplying then, multiplying the diagonals, we get 150 times X equals 732 times 100, or 150X equals 73,200 times 100 adds a couple of zeros on the end if there's no decimal places being shown. And then we say we need to divide both sides by 150. Okay. Now, I'm going to zoom in here because I want to solve this problem right now. And I'm going to zoom in so that we don't use up a lot of space. And in fact, let me first write X equals, which was where our final answer will be. X equals, and we'll fill that in a moment. Now we've got to do this problem. 73,200 divided by 150. So I'm going to write 73,200 divided by 150. And it's a fun fact that we can take a division problem, and if we move the decimal from where it is, and there's a decimal here and a decimal here at the end if you don't see it, we can move it in the same direction, the same number of places, and it will result in the same answer. What am I going to do? I want to move this over here because then we're not dividing by 150, we're just dividing by 15. And then I'm going to do that same thing and move it here. So we now have a new equivalent problem of 15 going into 7,320. Okay. Why does that help us? Because it's easier to think of multiples of 15 than multiples of 150, I believe. So 15 goes into 73. Well, it goes into 75 5 times, so it's going to go into 73 4 times. 4 times 15 is 60. And we're left with 13. Bring down the 0. Okay, 15 goes, bring down the 2. 15 goes into 132. Well, it goes into 30 twice. So how many 30s can I get in there? I can get 4 groups of 30, so that means 8 groups of 15. And I can just tell that there would only be 12 left over. It wouldn't be enough for another one. So I say 8 and do 15 times 8. I've shown you this trick before, just a mental math trick. I can double one number. I'm going to double that to 30. And I take half of another number. I'm going to take a half of this for 4. And we'll get the same value. Okay, that makes it easier because 3 times 4 is 12. Add that 0 on, 120. So 15 times 8 is 120. So I'm going to subtract 120. And I get 12 left over. Bring down the 0. And I just figured out that how many times 15 goes into 120. It goes in 8 times. Okay. It would do you a lot of good to get real comfortable with doing this kind of math. If you're not comfortable with division and all this, you can see that I can do it, which means you can too. Okay, there's nothing special about me except I've just got a lot of practice. So You can do it too with practice. So don't shy away from it. Don't use your calculators at home because you're not going to get them on the test. But anyway, 150 goes into 73,200, 488 times. So when I shrink this down again, oops, let me group all that and then shrink everything down. Get back to our original problem. Oops. And again, I want to group that as well. Here it is. And we've got as an answer, remember what we found, 488. Okay, so I'm going to box that. And let's do this one. What is 200%? 200% of what number is 403? So we're going to, as always, start out with is over of equals percent over 100. And we'll fill it out. First, we need to identify it. Is 403 of what? We're finding it. And percent, 200%. So let's fill that out. We can say is 403 of x percent 200, and that's over 100. Okay, so now when we multiply, we can say multiply the diagonals. We can say 200 times x equals 403 times 100. For 200x equals 40,300. Now dividing both sides by 200 equals 40,300 divided by 200. And I'm going to do the same thing again. Let me just make sure that this is all locked together. Good. Okay. I need to do this problem right here. 40,300 divided by 200. I'm going to zoom in. $40,300 divided by 200. And remember what our rule is. We can move the decimal the same number of places and we'll still get an equivalent answer. So since there's a decimal there at the end, we can move it over 1, 2 places, and there's a decimal at the end there, 1, 2 places. Our equivalent equation, or equivalent division problem then is 403 divided by 2. Much simpler. Okay? So how many times does 2 go into 4? It goes in twice. Bring down to 0. How many times does 2 go into 0? It goes in 0 times. And every time we bring a number down, we got to put 1 up. So we got to put that 0 there. Okay? Now there's nothing to subtract away. Subtracting 0 from 0 just still gives you 0. So now just bring this down. 2 goes into 3 once. 1 left over. And annex a 0 after putting the decimal. And 2 goes into 10 5 times. 2 times 5 is 10. Finish the problem out. And then we get the answer 201.5. So when we zoom back out, we get x equals 201.5. And finally, we're going to do it one more time by setting it up and saying is over of equals percent over 100, which if we fill it out, we say is 603.6 of what? So we're finding, and 600%. So let's just set it up right. We can say the is number is 603.6. The of number is x. And the percent number is 600. So then when we multiply by multiplying the diagonals, we get 600x equals 603.6 times 100, or 600x equals 60360. I move the decimal over 2 places, and then 600x divided by 600 equals 60360 divided by 600. And that's the problem that I need to solve right now to be done with this. So I'm going to zoom in over here on the right hand side and do 60360 divided by 600. Here we go. So we say, let's see, 60360 divided by 600. Remember, we can move the decimal over 2 places from here over to here by doing the same thing here to get an equivalent equation. And we've got now 6 into 603.6. Okay, and we can calculate this more easily. 6 goes into 6 once. That is 6. Bring down the 0. 6 goes into 0 0 times. Bring down the 3. 6 goes into 3 0 times. Bring down the 6. 6 goes into 36 6 times. That is 36. And we get 0. So we have as our answer then 100.6. So zooming out, I can say x is equal to 100.6, and I'm going to box that, and that is our final answer.